This crisis did not start here, but the solutions will begin here at the legislature. We also know that the biggest factor in this crisis is a lack of jobs. And that is clear from the numbers that we have seen presented to us today. A loss of 77,000 jobs is not a good part of this story for Minnesota. We know we can weather this storm together. We plan on weathering the storm together. We plan on working with the governor as well. And we know through that we can actually make a better Minnesota.
We have a very challenging task before us. I think the speaker is exactly correct. The issue is about our economy and job growth, and we will do what's necessary to appropriately balance our state budget. We're going to examine every current spending item, and we're going to make adjustments and that put Minnesota in a position to be competitive internationally.
We've got to turn this around, and it's absolutely necessary. Our job is painful, I would say, but it's not nearly as painful as the pain endured and will be endured by thousands of Minnesotans who have either lost their job already or perhaps along the line will lose their jobs. This is serious business. And again, we look forward to working with the Senate majority towards, again, a resolution to this budget deficit. I would say this and I would ask this of Senator Poggemiller and very publicly right now. From the standpoint of the Senate minority, we would urge that we not wait long into the session before we see their budget plan. I would urge personally that maybe a week after the governor has issued his budget proposal, that the Senate majority come forward with their own. We need to have the cards on the table. We need to be able to work. And with that then, with their plan, with the governor's plan, with the plan that we will have, we will in fact be ready to, I think, sit down and make some effective progress on this. So again, not business as usual. We look forward to working certainly with the majority caucus, and we will do that. But there is urgency here. This is not a fun time. This is a very, very serious time. The lives of many Minnesotans have been affected and will be affected as we go into the future. So let's put the cards on the table. Let's throw the politics aside. Let's get ready to work for Minnesota. Let's make sure that this state comes out of this strong and prosperous and vibrant, and that we do what, again, we were elected to do, and that's to move Minnesota forward.
Well, we're going to start by making cuts. We are prepared to begin that work now. We are joining together as a caucus in the next few days, and we'll look for priority areas to target for those cuts. We know that in the short term, to cut $1 saves $3 into the future. And so doing those things in a way that is with some speed but thought is important. It is also important to us, I think it's fair to say, though, that if solving the budget deficit is just a math problem, then we miss the opportunity to position Minnesota into the future for a stronger Minnesota and a growing Minnesota. And so our eye will be put on things that help us become stronger. Our first and foremost job will be to bring this budget into balance, and by doing it through a close and careful examination of the budget.
We're going to look at every option out there that's available, and I think it's important to keep everything on the table. And anybody in these last 24 hours, if they think they have the silver bullet, they're not telling you the truth. You need to be serious and thoughtful. And if anybody comes before you today and claims to have the solution in the first 24 hours, is neither being serious or thoughtful.
Well, I think we have to look at, in some cases, these states where we see tremendous job growth. And where you see that, my understanding of that is they have been able to preserve investments or make new investments in higher education. There are clearly economic thinkers out there who believe that the way to create more jobs is actually spur research and development, and both on the research side of that and the development side of that. And we have been working on that, but it's not nearly as aggressive as we need to be. to create high-paying, high-wage jobs for Minnesotans.
Spend more money on those things.
No, I think in this situation, we're going to have to reprioritize dollars in this budget, and in some cases, it'll make our work even harder to make those cuts, that we will probably have to cut deeper in places to be able to reprioritize dollars into those areas.
The other piece is, remember, this is an opportunity for us to think about what we can do smarter, what we can be more efficient. We think that some things have gotten out of whack in terms of priorities. We need to think about what our long-term path is for our kids and our grandkids. This isn't about just today. And we got to make sure, as we're making those cuts, that we're not destroying our families and our communities or the jobs that are there. So we're going to be looking at everything.
This is the time to bring all Minnesotans to the table, the best and the brightest thinkers in this state. Business leaders, nonprofit leaders, education leaders. This is the time when people need to actually run towards the Capitol and bring their best ideas of how to make these investments.
Holiday to start coming up with this list?
Well, I think the handwriting is pretty well set that we're going to probably want to move rather rapidly, and my intent is as soon as the Speaker announces who those chairs are, as the chair of, well, I don't know, I can't really say anything yet. I'm up for appointment tomorrow too. Yeah, that's right, yeah. But let me put it this way, if I were to have the same role tomorrow that I have today, my intent would be to begin to visit with the division chairs and to begin that planning process and to begin to get input from both caucuses on how we move forward on the prioritizing of the issues.
The other piece that we're going to need to be doing is listening to Minnesotans. You know, I think that the majority leader did already refer to that, but that's what we need to not lose sight of. What are families, what are communities, what are the real impacts? So you should be looking at, seeing and preparing for a lot of listening from Minnesotans about what's important.
We plan to take the governor's budget on the road. When it is presented to us, we will be taking the governor's budget around the state. We will be taking the governor's budget very, very seriously. So if he has used a robust process to do zero-based budgeting, that is great.
Minnesotans will get to examine.
Remember that the surplus that the Democrats inherited from our caucus is gone. The budget reserve that our caucus voted to put in place to a tune of over $800 million is gone. And to exercise on allotment, the budget reserve disappears. There's only 150 some left that was all squandered after the tough votes that we took and the disciplined spending that our caucus put in place. You know, we're going to obviously have to go down that road. The budget reserve will go down to zero. An allotment takes place, and then it will have to be built back up during the session of 2009. We are not entertaining that idea.
What about state fees? You don't want to raise taxes, you don't want to raise state fees either?
I'm not interested in raising state fees, and I know that's something the Democrats talked about in 2003. You got to keep in mind the elections of 04 and 06. The political road is littered with the bodies of House Republicans who are criticized with the tough decisions we made in managing the budget and in building up a reserve that was promptly squandered by the DFL in 2007, the $800+ million that we kept in place because we were sound fiscal managers. And now we're very interested to see how they're going to come forward to balance the budget in a situation not a whole lot unlike 2003. They have a big base to work with, a bigger base of government to work with to restructure. But I can tell you that, you know, we were criticized for fee increases. We were criticized for all sorts of other payment shifts and the like. And so I am planning on going through some videotape of Representative Entenza on the House floor when he had my office and certainly work with them on more constructive suggestions because they didn't give us any suggestions. But also make sure that we take some of the ideas they had in 2003 on no fee increases. We're interested in that too. So we're going to look for some consistency.